Yo. Corrupted Gauntlet is fun and interactive content that's unfortunately pretty hard to learn, but it gets easy once you know what you're doing. I'm on a CG grind right now and figured I'd make a short and sweet tips and tricks kind of video for all you learners out there trying to get your enhanced crystal weapon seed. And I don't want to drag this out, so let's go ahead and get into it. Tip number 1. Use the Tile Indicators plugin with Highlight True Tile turned on. This tells you where your character is according to the server instead of what's shown on your screen. It could also be helpful to use the Highlight Destination Tile settings so you can see what tile you're running to, which will help you correct misclicks. It's also important to note that when running, your character crosses 2 tiles per game tick, and when walking, 1 tile per game tick. This is very important to know for Corrupted Gauntlet and other high-level PvM in general for certain movement mechanics, and in the case of CG, it's really useful for handling tornadoes, especially during Phase 3 of the Hunlift fight. Tip number 2. I'm gonna personally recommend for you guys out here learning CG to just do Tier 2 prep while you get comfortable. Tier 1 prep is faster and more efficient. On the other hand, Tier 2 prep is basically free now anyways and allows for more mistakes on the Hunlift fight, and it's just a lot more relaxed than Tier 1 is. I learned CG doing Tier 1 prep and it was frustrating to say the least, and if I remember correctly, I had a good 40 or 50 deaths before I actually got 5 runs completed. If you're dead set on learning with Tier 1 prep, go for it. I'm just making it known here that Tier 2 is easier overall and is actually my preferred method of doing CG even after hundreds of kills. With that said, doing Tier 2 prep requires you to gather 7 wood, 7 wool, 7 ore, and anywhere from 8 to 12 food. I also like to collect a total of 3 herbs, so I have 1 potion to run around with for prep and 2 for the Hunlift fight. With Tier 2 prep, we don't need to worry too much about getting both Tier 3 weapons, so if you start running low on time and have at least 1 Tier 3 weapon, go ahead and send it. Tip number 3. The reason I like to collect 3 herbs during prep to have a potion to run around with is to avoid running out of prayer and run energy, obviously. If at any point you're not running between objectives during prep, you're a lot more likely to run out of time and end up fighting Hunlift unprepared. And you don't want to run out of prayer because demi-bosses will smack the shit out of you off prayer. Tip number 4. During prep, you want to make sure you're hovering your mouse cursor over the next thing you want to do while you're working on something else. For example, if I'm mining an ore spot, I always hover my mouse cursor over the next resource to grab or the room I want to light up. This is a really small thing I do to save tiny little bits of time throughout an entire run because even half seconds add up. Tip number 5. When fighting Hunlift, focus more on survival than DPS. This might sound obvious, but when you're new to something and you're eager to get it down, it's too easy to get caught up in getting closer to securing the kill. Move fast, click with intention, that means no spam clicking, and do damage when you know it's safe to. You might see me sneaking in extra hits while I dodge tornadoes and stuff, but that's because I've done Corrupted Gauntlet almost 1,000 times between my main and my old group Iron Man. Pay attention to Hunlift's prayer and attack style changes and try to quickly plan routes when you know that tornadoes are about to drop. Tip number 6. Speaking of tornadoes, don't freak out when you're on Phase 3 of the Hunlift fight and they show up. Literally just move. It doesn't matter where. Of course, you want to be mindful of the disco floor, but you're a lot more likely to survive 1 or 2 ticks of disco tile than you are if you get caught by 3 or more tornadoes. Mind where they spawned, see how they chase you, and use it to your advantage. Circling back to tip number 1 real quick, we know we cross 2 tiles per game tick when we're running. If a tornado is 1 tile away from you, you can click on the other side of the tornado to skip it and run away with no damage taken. They're also fairly easy to juke, especially earlier in the fight when you have more room to run around. These are things you'll start finding yourself doing pretty regularly once you're comfortable with CG. Another big thing for avoiding tornadoes is to run in a straight line as much as you possibly can. Doing this allows you to get a decent gap on them, making it safer to eat up or get some hits in on Hunlift. Tip number 7. Hunlift is most dangerous when he's using Mage. This is because of that big purple ball he has a chance to shoot you with that turns off your prayers. Later on, during Phase 3 of the Hunlift fight, you'll find yourself in a situation where you're in the middle of dodging tornadoes and avoiding disco floor, trying to eat some fishies, and then all of a sudden, Hunlift turns your prayers off because he's an asshole. Situations like this still catch even me off guard after all the CG runs I've done in my RuneScape career, and I end up dying because panic. Sometimes I act like nothing happened and click to move and turn my prayers on like a good gamer, But others, I prioritize turning prayer back on, my character stops moving, I get eaten by tornadoes before my ADD brain processes what's happening. So, if you find yourself in this situation at any point on your grind, which you will, just be ready to perform these actions very quickly. Click to move and turn those prayers back on in that order, like your life depends on it, because it definitely does. If you tank a hit off prayer from Hunlif, you're pretty likely to survive as long as the damage from it isn't stacked with tornadoes and or disco floor. Remember, movement is king when fighting Hunlif. Tip number 8, if you find yourself getting Hunlif to phase 3 consistently and you're dying when he's at maybe 100 or 200 HP left, you are so close. Keep grinding and you'll start getting those kills. You just gotta bang your head against that brick wall. But at this point, once you've seen phase 3 a few times and know what to expect, it's only a matter of time before you get him down and start farming. The learning process here is just tough, and it takes a lot of attempts for a lot of people. My biggest and most important tip here is that if you find yourself getting frustrated and full of gamer rage, just leave it for a bit. Go do something else that you already know. Go do some chillin' and skillin' while you cool off, and never let the Jad hands prevail. I hope these tips help you learners out, and if any of my fellow CG enjoyers have extra tips and tricks to add, feel free to do so in the comments. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to drop a like and a sub for more guides, loot videos, and other stuff I might be doing. Go get your enhanced crystal weapon seeds, have a good day, I'll see you gamers again soon.